We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm losing my voice. Welcome to another episode of the Fix Collab Behind the Scene and Fix Collab BTS. I'm your host Fitri, and in today's show, I will share with you guys three things that you guys can do today to instantly increase your agency price. So, if you own an agency, if you are a freelancer, this is a podcast that will definitely help you learn the strategies that I've used myself to grow my agency, to be able to increase my service fee from initially my first one was just three digits to now was we range from 5 to 7 digits. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a big show. Welcome to Fix Collab BTS. It's a show where we bring you all the tech related news, where we bring you everything you need to know about running an agency, where we bring you everything about website design, mobile app design, and software design. I am Fitri and I founded a company called Fix Collab a few years back. We are a software development agency here based in Kuala Lumpur, and we bring this show. It's kind of during my tea time to share with you guys, make you guys updated on what's going on. So today's topic, we're gonna talk about increasing your price, right? And why is this important? Because as a business owner, even if you're a freelancer, what the thing that can make you profitable, the thing that can make you know life worth living is being able to steadily increase your price. A lot of times when we first start, we face this issue where we don't think that we are worth it. So most of the time we would go the route of, okay, I'll try to charge as low as I can and slowly increase my price from there. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times, if you're able to increase your price right away, you can be profitable quickly. And as every business owners, the thing that we want to do is obviously to be profitable as fast as we can. So in today's show, in today's session, I will share you three things that we personally, I myself and the team have used to consistently increase our price. And when I say consistently increase our price, obviously as somebody who are running a service-based business, that's the thing that you want to constantly challenge yourself. You want to constantly be pushing the upper limit as to, hey, how much can I charge? How much can I charge? Because if there's one thing that I learned about increasing your price, it really forces you to embody a new standard. A lot of times, when you are a, let's say, three-figure freelancer, you don't really see the profession. How do I put this? You don't really view yourself as a professional if you're charging three figures. But for imagine if you're delivering the same thing, but you are asking, people pay you about seven figures. Definitely, there's something about your service that makes people want to pay you that much, right? So today's show, if you are a freelancer, if you are a new agency owner, these three things, what I'm about to share is very tactical, guys. I'm not going to share with you guys this, you got to change your belief, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, those things are crucial, and those, I would consider those as fundamentals as well. But today is all about the tactics, all right? So, what's the first one? So the first thing that you have to do, if you are an agency, if you want to increase your price, let me just type it here. You want to itemize everything. So a lot of times, you see, I started off as a website freelancer a few years back. Started in 2016. I was just freelancing, and then one thing led to another, and then now we're an agency of about 10 people in house, a lot of contractors, and when I first start, a lot of times when people say, "Hey, I want to do a website, how much is it?" I will just tell them, "Okay, it probably costs." My first website was just 250 ringgit, and I never really think of what are the single things, what are the small. If I were to name every action that I need to take in order to build this, what would it be? So back then, I would just, the billing, the quotation, the invoice would just be something as, okay, website design and development work for blah, blah, blah. And probably just a small items down there. But once I start learning how to itemize, now you realize that, hey, actually, I'm doing a lot of things, right? Because what you're trying to do is to really list out every single thing that you need to do to complete this thing, right? And that, just to give you a perspective for a website, right? A lot of times we have to buy a domain or get a hosting services, and then we have to set up the WordPress, and then we have to, if it requires, buy certain plugins, and then we have to build the front end pages, and then we have to optimize these pages in terms of uh, how it looks on mobile, how it looks on tablet, how it looks on desktop, and then we have to optimize the SEO, the security, the speed, and then we have to test. And only after we test, we have to show it to the client and we deploy it. And then we also need to teach the client on how we can use the website. So now, all of a sudden, before you know it, you already have like 20, 30 things lined up just to execute this website project. So if you put a price to that, 9 times out of 10, what usually will happen is the cost, the net amount of the things that is required to put together this website is going to increase. You can no longer make sense that, hey, now that if I'm doing all these kind of things, it doesn't make sense for me to charge 250 ringgit. It doesn't make sense for me to charge 1,000, because look at all these things. I probably will need 1 hour for this, 1 hour for this, a team for this, a team for this, and voila, instantly you have unlocked a secret to increase your price. So itemize every single thing. You don't want to not itemize every single thing. This is what I learned from looking at all the big projects, all the big billing, that that when you look at it, you would just go, wow, how are they able to justify those prices? Okay, so that's number one. You have to itemize every single thing. So number two, there's a little story I want to tell here. So we were fortunate enough to have a client who who's big. When I say big, they they are dealing with 8 9 figures worth of projects, and I was I was close to the business development team, right? So obviously, out of my curiosity, I just had to ask them, like, dude, how are you able to justify these billings? How are you able to justify projects that are worth in the billions? And the answer that he told me was something that changes how I look at things. So he said this, the thing that we solve. So let me just put some sort of context. This company, what they're doing is they want to digitalize a government body, right? And this government body has been very, very traditional. The way how they do things has been very paper based. And this company, what they want to do is they want to digitalize the whole thing, to go paperless, to make sure everything is based on cloud, to make sure everyone can work remotely, so on and so forth. And they were able to justify $1 billion asking. And he told me that this, hey, if you are solving a decade year problem, if you are solving a problem of the future, if you're solving a problem that if you're solving a problem for the instant problem, you're not going to be able to charge to ask for as much price as you were to if you were to solve future problems. So that to put that into perspective, what he was trying to say is, look, whatever we're trying to do is solving this government's body problem for the next 10, 20, 30 years, right? And because the fact that this is a long-term problem, there are a lot of things that we have to put in place to make sure that this whole thing works, this whole thing is executed. Hence, it makes sense for us to ask that much of money. Because imagine if I'm able to now let's say that you are somebody who has physical disability, right? Where you can't really walk because God knows something is wrong when you were born. And then you had an opportunity, somebody give you an opportunity to, okay, let's assume that the problem is you're having bad knee, and someone gives an opportunity to reset the whole thing and have a new knee. And this new knee gives you the ability to run, to jump, to have that, super athletic ability. And you hearing that, obviously you now think that, okay, if I have this knee, there are a lot of things that I can do. There are a lot of things that eventually I can take on. I can be a sportsman. I can take on this sport. I can take on that sport. And when that happens, obviously you will start valuing this thing as very, very, very valuable, because this solution opens up a whole new world of opportunity. This problem, this solution solve future problems. I don't have to worry, hey, let's say if I am uh, 50, 60, and then I can't walk. But with this new knee thing, I'm able to solve all these future problems. So the massive lesson that I learned there is to always, always solve long-term problem. So if you are solving what's immediate, imagine if you're having a migraine, what's an immediate solution is to chug on some Panadol. And is Panadol something that you pay a lot? You don't really pay that much. But if there's a pill that will, maybe it's something that will ensure that you'll never ever have migraine, you would probably value that way, way, way higher than the Panadol. So always solve long-term problem. So that's number two, guys. And last but not least, so the first one, itemize everything. Number two, always, always solve long-term problem. And then the third one, let me check my notes. I read it somewhere just now. Oh. So when this obviously has to do with number two, when you solve long-term problem, what goes in your head is, now there is a value that I'm able to say. There is a number that I'm able to, that the client is able to picture in your head. So number three you have to do is to always tie whatever you ask to a big number. So let's imagine that, uh, see, a lot of times when people reach out to us, they wanted to do a website. A huge reason of that is probably because they want to go public, or they want to secure some investment from, they want to raise some funds. And a lot of times they needed an outlook that speaks professionalism, that speaks credibility, that convinces people that, hey, this company is not joking around. So they would come to us, and then they would obviously what's the best price whatsoever. And a lot of times when we are able to somehow guess, or get the exact value of the number that they are trying to raise, that gives us an idea of, okay, how much we should ask them. So let's imagine that, hey, they want to raise about R1 billion, right? It doesn't make sense for us to charge the other person 1,000, because then the other person, obviously, the thing about, if you're not able to increase your price, it will backfire, because You know, price is price is an indicator of quality. You can tell everybody. Say, imagine that I go to two restaurants. They both look identical, and the other restaurant charge way higher, and then the other restaurant charge way lower. By default, your perception would be that, hey, this first restaurant is of some sort of quality, just because you are perceiving the price as something that has quality. So when you're not able to increase your price for something of such quantum, let's say somebody wants to raise a billion, right? And here you are charging 1,000 ringgit, it will speak to the client that, hey, these guys must be sketchy. Like, there's something wrong with these guys. Why are they so cheap? Probably the work that they will do is not good. You see how those questions starts playing in my head when I see low prices. So when you're able to get to this number, a good rule of thumb is to charge 30% of what the number is. Okay, let's say that because of your product, the other person will be able to get a million. You shouldn't be afraid to ask for what's 30%, 300,000. And that has been the basis of how we were able to get six-figure, seven-figure project, because we understood the quantum, the results, the return that this technology will bring to the client. And a lot of times, if you put these three things together, where you itemize everything, you always look at the long-term problem, and then third thing, you always tie whatever you ask to a value, tie you're asking to a value, you will find yourself being able to increase your price, being able to make yourself feel convinced, because that's a huge part, guys. That is a huge part. You also need to be convinced of your asking. And for me, it was this whole process that makes me feel convinced myself that, hey, I should be charging this much. Because a lot of times when you want to constantly increase your price, you will second out the numbers. You will second out your ability to ask. But then, as a salesperson, it's your responsibility to make yourself feels convinced. So you have to do all these things. So when you do these three things, guys, itemize everything. Always think of the long-term problem that you will be able to solve, and you have to speak this to the client. And then, last but not least, is to always find a huge number and being able to tie that ask to the number. So a lot of times, this is something that you can talk about. You have to have a conversation. Last podcast yesterday, I talked about having the right sales conversation, or you want to ask certain questions to get to a certain place with the client, how you want to be human to human, so that the other person can feel open to share all these things. Because once you get them to feel safe to share with you that, hey, because we are trying to raise a billion, it's very easy for you to tie whatever you ask to a value, right? So those are the three things that you could do to start increasing your price, your agency price today. This is something that is not theoretical. This is something that is very, very practical. You can apply it right away. The next billing, the next quotation that you get, do itemize every single thing. Number two, always seek the long-term problem, right? Don't give them Panadol, but give them something that will ensure this problem will not come back. And then, last but not least, is to always tie your ask to a big value. You will be able to increase your price, and then from there, you will be able to be more profitable and expand your team and do all the good stuff. So that is it, guys. I hope today's show you learn a thing or two. This is something that, it's not something that we read off books. It's something that we've discovered along the way as we grew this business. And if you want to know about the business, what we do, you can go to www.fixcolab.com. This is where you can learn about the things that we do. And if you need our help, you can just hit us up there. And yeah, that is it for today's show. And I hope it helps you in a way or another. If you like this show, please do share it with people. That's all I'm asking. If you don't have to share. It's fair for me. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon again tomorrow. Bye bye.